Everyone's time here. So I think the first thing that, oh goodness, things have moved since I've used this last. All right. Okay, give me one moment here. Okay. I wanted to stop my screen share for just a second because I want to introduce myself. My name is Danielle Kroll. I'm a senior transportation planner with the Syracuse Metropolitan Transportation Council. We have just going to do some very brief staff introductions. We've got Tom Bardenett, who is a senior transportation planner, also here in the office, and Andrew Frazier, we've got also with us. He is our senior transportation analyst. I see Joey DiStefano, he's with us. He's one of our transportation planners here too. And Mario Clone is also joining us. He's our program manager. And I think I got everyone that's on from SMTC. If I missed you, I apologize. And wanted to just get started right into our agenda. But for those of you that might be new to our forum and how we operate the vote, we hold our questions until the end. And you're welcome to type questions that you have into the chat. And then we'll get to as many of those questions at the end of the meeting, as well as some of the questions that were submitted in advance. We'll try to get to as many of those as we can. Also, all right, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen here and hope I don't mess this up. Got lots of things going on at the same time. Second, it's not letting me move. Okay. Oh, it's paused now. All right, there we go. Can everyone see my screen? Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so as far as our agenda goes, we are going to, I'm not actually going to go over too many meeting expectations, just that to just please be respectful of one another. We also used to share how to navigate Zoom, and I think enough of us have done that at this point that we don't need to go through and show you where the buttons are. But if anything comes up, like I said, just type it into the chat and we'll take care of it. So the first thing that I want to do is go through a couple of our SMTC staff updates. So this is the work that we here in the office have been taking on as part of our UPWP, our Unified Planning Work Program. And to get started, I'm just going to talk about some, jumped ahead a little bit. We've got a couple of projects that are nearly complete. One of which is the North Syracuse Van Mara Drive and Grove Street traffic calming and safety analysis. We've got 2 tech memos. We've got the things I'm going to share today. We look at bicycle pedestrian elements in a lot of our studies. So any of our studies that have kind of a more bike ped kind of role, we talk about those during our vote meeting. So this is one of those projects, and that the results of those 2 tech memos, we've got some detailed concept for improving bike ped crossing across South Bay Road between the neighborhoods in this area. That'll be posted on our SMTC website later this month. We also recently wrapped up our downtown parking wayfinding and signage guide and our villages of Manoa, Fayetteville, and Manlius bicycle and pedestrian connection study. It's a mouthful. We finished that up this past spring, and so those are on our website right now if anyone's interested in taking a look. We've got some ongoing projects, and actually this first one listed, the Safe Routes to School support for Onondaga County, I probably could have listed that one as nearly complete as well. In the last month or so, we gathered data on how students get to and from school from approximately 45 parents and close to 120 students through online surveys that the school assisted us in getting out to their community. And we were also able to host a walk audit with 6 students plus school staff. And Joey from our office led the walk audit and the project. And it was pretty interesting and fun to involve the students in that. And then right now we're compiling feedback and conclusions into a draft report. So that'll be ready to go to our website in the next month or two as well. Another ongoing project is our Route 57 Complete Streets project. We actually just extended the study area for that project, and we're anticipating another public input session for the end of July and wrapping the entire project up late summer of this year. And that's taking a look at Route 57 from the Village of Liverpool line north to, I think we go all the way to 30. I might be mistaken on that. I should know that off the top of my head. But in any case, we're looking at pedestrian and bicycle, trying to accommodate pedestrian and bicycles through that area as best we can. We've also got our community streets project, which Tom has been heading up. And the latest project with that is the Syracuse Urban Collective is installing painted curb extensions in a bike corral in downtown Syracuse. And that installation is anticipated to occur at the end of June. And Tom is also working on our Thriving Communities program, where we are assisting the city of Syracuse with their technical assistance team to evaluate transit-oriented development opportunities near 4 proposed BRT station locations. That's bus rapid transit. So those are some of our ongoing projects. Another ongoing project we have taking place is some work that we are doing as kind of doing project management assistance for 2 projects. They're listed on the screen here. The Reconnecting Communities pilot program, there's going to be 2 demonstration projects this summer near the MLK and Oakwood intersection and the Taylor and State Streets intersections. We're evaluating improved mobility and accessibility for individuals outside of personal vehicles along 4 corridors in the East Adams area. That's another one that Tom has been working on. And then the Safe Streets for All action plan, we think that the county may be releasing an RFP for that project in the near future. We just don't have too much more information about that one just yet. We also have a new handful of new projects as part of our unified planning work program for this coming year. Our years run from April to April. And these, the projects listed on the screen are just some of the projects we're working on, but these are the projects that tend to have a little bit more elaborate bicycle and pedestrian type of kind of bent to those. And so I'm not going to get into each of these in the interest of time and trying to make sure we have enough time for our presenters, but you'll be hearing more about the projects on the screen in the coming months and at coming FOAT meetings. And there's a couple of these we're just starting to work on preparing scopes of work, which will outline the work we're going to do for each of those. Okay, and then one last thing I just wanted to be sure that I mentioned is the Parks and Trails New York and New York State Canal Corporation. They had installed trail use counters along the Erie Canal and Empire State Trail in Camillus and DeWitt in 2024. They used to do counts at these locations in the past, but now there are trail user counters there all the time. So I just wanted to point out this type of information that you're seeing on the screen. This is the type of information that can come from those trail counters. And if you go to their website, if you go to the Parks and Trails New York website, you can access this information too. This is for the DeWitt area, and then they also have a trail counter in Camillus. And what you're seeing here is what's on their online dashboard, but there's also, you can also get to the data behind what you're seeing on the screen here. Okay, let's see. All right, and so now we're going to come to the part of our meeting today where we like to ask our member agencies to share updates. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. And let's see. So I know that New York State DOT wasn't able to be with us today for their updates. So I'm going to start with, is Bren on the line? Oh, yep, Bren, I see you. Okay, we just have to unmute you. So, okay, now we got to have you unmute yourself. And so Bren is the Associate Vice President of Communications and Business Planning with Centro, and she's going to share an update with us about what's going on in the world of Centro. Oh, we still can't hear you. Okay.
How about that?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Good.
Perfect.
So now that I figured out which buttons to push, all is good in the world of Centro. We are, as you know, working on our bus rapid transit, our BRT system, and we're looking at putting that out on the road in 2027. But in advance of that, we are working on a system redesign. We're calling this Better Bus Onondaga, and you may have heard me talk about this because I feel like I've been talking about it for a minute now. We are super excited, and we're getting into the nuts and bolts. In fact, I just finished a different meeting with our executive team to get into what our routes might look like, what some zones might look like, and what some frequency might look like in the future. And our consultants will be in town this week as well. So we're really trying to get more concrete plans ready so that we can come out to the public in the late summer and bring it out to everyone and show y'all what we've got. The main part of the system redesign is to clean up our system, to increase frequency, make it easier to understand and easier to ride. So those are some of our goals in our system redesign. We did a similar system redesign in Rome last year, and right now we are seeing 35% increase in ridership from last year to this year in Rome. That's awesome. Excuse me. So we are excited to use that model here in Syracuse, and we have consultants who are helping us with this. So the next time you're probably going to see me is maybe in July or August, when we're going to have a bunch more meetings. We had some in the spring, and then we'll come back to the public for a public hearing in the fall before we roll out a new system in June of 2026. So just wanted to give you a couple of feelers for, again, we're connecting to bike and ped trails. We're working on the BRT system being faster and much more frequent. So how do we connect into that? And really just making our system make more sense and just be easier for everybody to use. So that's what we're working on.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I do have one quick question for you because we're going to be chatting with Paul from VO in a little bit, but can you just remind folks the areas that Centro has helped to expand into, expand the VO product?
Yes, I'm looking forward to hearing all about it as well.
Yeah.
And from Paul's perspective, but as you know, Centro put out an RFP a few years ago. We also chose the same vendor, VO, so that, you know, we are the ones, maybe most of us, maybe some of us know where the municipal boundaries are. Other people, the general public, do not know where the boundaries are until maybe you see the bikes and scooters lined up there on Thompson Road or along Erie Boulevard, because that's where they shut off, right? So our plan was to help complete those rides, let people get to their final destination and not have to stop at the end of the city limits. So we've expanded on the east side. We've gone into East Syracuse and a little bit DeWitt. You can get to the library, I believe, on the east side. On the west side, you can get to OCC's campus and slightly around it. So help navigate to OCC. And then our next hopeful expansion will be on the north side with some of the county trails on the north side, but we're not there yet. So
okay, perfect. Yeah, thank you, Bren. I just wanted to have you remind us we've got some new folks, so thank you. Appreciate it. All right, let's see. We've got I don't see, is Chris Robber on? Did you guys see him join? I don't think so. With County DOT. don't see him on there. Okay. All right, we will skip. Kara Verbanik. So I've asked Kara to join us. She is the program coordinator with the Creating Healthy Schools and Communities project with the Onondaga County Health Department. And typically, typically we have Adriana Savage here from County Health, but she's unable to be here. So I asked Kara if she would be able to just let us know what the health department is doing in the world of bike ped and healthy communities. So thanks.
No problem at all. And yes, like you mentioned, Adriana is out on maternity leave. She had a little baby girl at the end of March. So she'll be back in September.
Okay.
Back to the grant on that. Some of the things we've been working on, I saw Karen Deaton on here, so I'll let her report out on her stuff. But we've been working a lot with the regional market on the pedestrian infrastructure. Safety was definitely a concern for people walking and biking there. So we did purchase them a paint striper last year. So they've gone out and actually done a lot of the crosswalks and some of the parking spaces and things like that to make it a little bit easier for people to get around. We've gotten some crushed gravel for them from some of the potholes, so it's easier and safer for people to walk there, and done a bunch of pedestrian crossing walk signage for them there. And we got them a few bike racks too, so that they can have a place for people that are biking to the market. So we're continually working with them to see how we can improve the infrastructure there and get people, especially walking from the north side over, to make that safer for them.
Okay.
And we're going to be helping Ed Smith as well. I've been working with Karen a little bit on that, so we're just getting that going. And then a couple other projects we're working on like activating green spaces. 701 Tully Street. They put up a big fence there. We've been working with City Parks. They've put up some trees there, and we just planted some flowers with the kids from Blodgett the other day around the memorials there, just to kind of beautify it a little bit and make it a nice space for the kids to hang out and play. And then another project we're doing is with Proud Places with the city of Syracuse over on the north side. It's 811 Butternut Street. We went out last Friday. Supposed to be several different times, but thanks to the rain, we've had to postpone and reschedule. But we're doing a mural on the side of the Buddhist Center over there. We did a lot of work with Proud Places, doing community focus groups and things like that. And there's a big green space in there too that people want to utilize. And they're going to do like an adopt a block for that 800 block of Butternut Street to clean it up, make it more usable. And they've got some gardens across from like White Branch Library, so we're connecting the whole thing. But we did that on Friday over there, and they're actually going to have a community painting. Supposed to be Saturday, but we saw it might rain again, so it might be on Sunday.
Okay.
But yeah, so those are some of the things we've been working on there.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Let's see. I do want to. Karen, did you want to add anything to what Kara was just speaking about? I don't want to put you on the spot either, but if you'd like to, just let me know.
Well, I'm sure if you don't mind me talking with small children when I'm in the middle of transport, but yeah,
You're good.
Kara's been great. So I'm a parent at Ed Smith School in the city, and we started a bike bus a few weeks ago. This morning we had 36 kids on bikes to school, which was great.
That's great.
A whole crew of parents, and so Kara and the county have been sharing information with us. We're adding bike racks because the bike racks we have at our school don't accommodate all the kiddos that are biking. So yeah, it's been great.
Awesome. Thanks very much. Thanks for letting us know and for getting this started.
No problem. Let me try it.
All right. So let's see here. We've got just want to make sure because I know Kevin with the city wants to share his screen in a minute. So let me just check. Okay. All right. So now we've got Kevin. I'm going to have you. Kevin's a transportation planner with the City of Syracuse Department of Public Works. And I'm going to tell you to go ahead and you should be able to share your screen.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. Happy to be here. Happy to chat. This is a good group. Just have two really quick updates. Obviously, Paul from VO is coming after me, and Neil from the city is coming after me as presenting. So I will make this quick and easy. I'm going to drop into the chat our website for the city. We have 2025 traffic calming projects. So these are routes that have been identified for striping improvements, crosswalks, fog lines. Also, some of them will receive greenway treatments, which are speed humps through neighborhoods, and other, traffic calming items like that. So there's a lot more details. I'm not going to go through every single project. I will drop that in the chat now, so you can feel free to check those out on your own time. The other update that I have today is for VO. We've been working with VO closely. Hopefully you guys can see this now.
Yep. Can see it.
We worked with them for their contract renewal to identify what we're calling opportunity zones. And what these are areas that have been identified as low poverty rates, also car light, or people that don't have access to vehicles. We used our neighborhood business development within the city to create these maps. So really, these have been identified as the zones that there are people in poverty, there are people that do not have access to vehicles, or they don't have public transit very adjacent to where they're living. So these are the zones that are identified. And what we're going to do is, over the next month or so, add these to the VO program. So if you start or you stop your ride within these zones, you will get a discount. So it really helps people that live here, so that when they start a ride in the zone or they're coming home to this zone, they will get a discounted, and hopefully kind of really target people that need transit and also need micromobility to get around, to go to work, to access different places within the community. Hopefully it will add a little extra layer of equity to the VO program overall. So that's kind of behind the scenes. This is something that will be coming in the next couple of months, but just wanted to add that as well before, obviously, Paul can speak more to the program.
Yeah.
But just thought this was a nice addition from both the city and the VO, really working together to add
Absolutely.
another layer of equity. So.
Yep. Great. Thank you, Kevin.
Yep.
All right. Let's see here. All right. Okay, so now we're going to get into our two presenters today. We've got Neil Burke, Director of Special Projects, the City of Syracuse Department of Public Works. He's going to chat with us today about the city's Vision Zero the city's Vision Zero / Complete Streets Plan. So Neil, if you want to go ahead and unmute. I don't know let us know if you need to share your screen or anything.
Yeah, I have a short presentation.
He should be able to.
Oh, okay.
It's
Thanks,
just
Tom.
of previous presentations we've given, but it helps to give folks
Sure.
something to look at instead of just listening to me drone on and on about safer streets and Vision Zero. So. All right, hopefully you guys can see the PowerPoint. So just to start things off, Vision Zero, if you're not familiar with the term, it's something that's really gained popularity over the past decade plus. It's really starting to build some momentum here in the US over the past few years. And so it sounds kind of broad, kind of nebulous, but Vision Zero is a strategy to eliminate all fatalities and serious injuries from traffic crashes, while increasing safe, healthy, and equitable mobility for all. So what that means boiled down is that Vision Zero treats serious injuries and fatalities on our roadways as preventable through a number of different factions, be it engineering, be it education, be it outreach. All of those items play into this Vision Zero strategy. And so we were tasked by the mayor's office in the end of 2023 to come up with a roadmap for Vision Zero for the city of Syracuse. It's not just something you can snap your fingers and declare, Vision Zero, we're done. It's a big process, a lot of data involved, a lot of outreach involved, a lot of listening, a lot of layered, it's a really layered approach to tackling this serious problem. And so, just a broad overview of our timeline. We started in 2024. We brought on a consultant who's very experienced in developing these action plans for cities, small, medium, and large. They have a deep bench, which is always great to pull from in our case. So where we are in this process is we're towards the end at this point. We've been doing this for just over a year, and we are approaching 100% draft of our Vision Zero action plan, as well as an associated complete streets toolkit. And while that's related to Vision Zero, it is separate. And the toolkit is a number of different strategies, interventions that the city can use to calm traffic, slow down speeds, improve safety for peds, bikes, transit users, and motorists. So one thing we hear from is that folks think this is just a ped bike endeavor. It's not. It's really an all users approach here. We want to improve safety. We want to raise that bar for all users. So getting into the trend, why are we here? What's the big deal, right? Why are we declaring that we need Vision Zero? So the trend in Syracuse is alarming. Unfortunately, we have a lot of company here. Most cities are seeing similar trends, if not worse. And a lot of these things have accelerated, unfortunately, since the pandemic for a number of different reasons. But it really hits home when you see these graphs and these numbers really just spell it cleanly. But we're talking about people who have been seriously injured, life-changing injuries, and also people who have lost their lives. So these can be pretty sobering statistics. So just in the past 5 years, over half of the fatalities on our network were just from people on foot. So if you add up all the car crashes, if you add up all the roadway departures, all the failure to yields, et cetera, over half of those fatal crashes were people on foot being struck by a motor vehicle. A little deeper into the trend, it's not a straight line, but it is an upward trajectory, and that's something that we want to correct here. And again, another sobering statistic, we've increased 34% from a similar cohort from not too long ago. One thing we've seen through all of this deep dive into the data, and when I say we're looking at the data, I mean we're looking at crash reports. We are looking at the New York State crash database. In our contractor, our vendor is doing this on our behalf, but they're pulling the records, they're looking at the details, they are reading the reports from the responding officers and also other first responders. So they're really compiling a detailed list on their end to inform this strategy. So we know there's an issue. What do we do? Where are we going to go? Where should we focus? And what we've seen are, in our community, intersections are key. Intersections are where 80% of these serious and fatal accidents, crashes occur. Right angle crashes, we're seeing a trend there, as well as signalized intersections. Those are overrepresented. And this might not seem that crazy, right? We have signals where we have high volumes, and where you have high volumes, you're likely to have a higher rate of crashes. But it's really spelling these out and just putting all of this information out there and taking a holistic look that really helps us focus on some of these key areas. So as part of the Vision Zero network, Vision Zero plan, you will develop what's called a high injury network. SMTC worked to do this for us a few years back. We added on to that process with a number of additional variables and new information. And what we found was, again, those higher volume roadways are where we're seeing the issues. And I don't think that's going to be a big news flash to anyone in this group, right? I think when someone says, what are unsafe streets? What are unsafe corridors that you wouldn't feel, or where you feel unsafe, or you don't feel comfortable walking or biking or waiting for transit? I think folks generally understand that these places tend to be high volume. They tend to be the arterial type roadways. But again, we've gone the extra mile here to really look at, okay, what are the specifics? Where are these areas? And specifically, what are the intersections as well? And so back to the sobering statistic, I keep saying that, but just 23 corridors, which is 25 miles. That's about 8% of our roadway. That's over half of our serious injuries and fatalities. And that's a very small amount of roadway responsible for a lot of issues. So again, we're digging deeper and deeper, and we're seeing that there are areas where targeted improvements are needed. Just again, I apologize for the jumpiness of the presentation, but this is a slide from one of our previous presentations, just getting into engagement. We have taken these findings both before they were developed, as they're being developed, and now we have also provided, essentially the 100% rough draft to the public. And we have gone out to libraries, community centers, lunchtime, nighttime, morning time, online, in person, soliciting online feedback, emails, forms. We've brought the big maps and the Post-it notes out to the public and said, let us know. So we have really tried to both gather information from the public about where do you see issues? What do you see going on in your neck of the woods? And also at the same time, report back out on what we're doing, what we're seeing with our deep dives, what we're thinking about for these themes and strategies, and where we anticipate this going. And unfortunately, this survey is no longer live. We did have to cut it off. We had about 800 responses on our first map, and then we had another great crop of responses here. So people are eager to share their lived experiences with us. So after all that's said and done, we ended up with 3 themes and a key principle. We want to design safe streets. Not a shocker, right? We want to make sure we're accommodating for people who are walking, rolling, and biking, because those persons are overrepresented in this crash data that we're crunching. We want to slow vehicle speeds. We know that the faster a vehicle is moving, the more likely that a crash will result. The more likely it is that a crash will result in a serious injury or a fatality. And not just for a pedestrian or a bicyclist or another motorist, but for the person who's driving that vehicle as well, or who might be on the bike or whatever. So I hit that point to just re-stress that while we talk a lot about ped bike safety through the Vision Zero action plan, it really is broad. It is really meant to encompass all modes. And then third, we want to promote a culture of safety. And I think that gets back to some of the things I mentioned earlier about we saw an acceleration of these trends after COVID. I think we need to come together and we need to understand that safety is a shared value, and we need to do more to communicate our expectations as a community to folks who are out there on our transportation network. And that gets back to abiding by posted regulations, speed limits, signals, you name it. But one of the aspects here is certainly promoting a culture of safety, which gets into education and outreach. So this isn't a process that just ends. It's a continually evolving process in which we have to make investments as the city, but we also have to respond to the community at large and meet them where they're at. And so this key principle that's interwoven through all of these is that we want to make sure we're committing resources equitably. We don't have an unlimited amount of money to spend. Budgets are constrained, capital projects are constrained. We want to make sure, though, that when we are moving forward on some of these interventions, we want to make sure we do so equitably. Below those themes, we have strategies that we've developed. So again, under slowing vehicle speeds, we need to look at a number of things. And there's some examples here. I won't read through all this, I promise you. But some of those might be looking at exploring areas where the default speed limit is dropped, where it's applicable. Maybe we have management programs to tackle some of those higher level items on a recurring basis. Automated speed enforcement, that's something that's ongoing now. So this really does break down to a granular level to strategies and action items that, again, I won't go over all of them today, but this information will be readily available. We're going to post it on the city's website as soon as it's accepted and adopted, and we foresee that this summer. So moving out of the Vision Zero action plan, I wanted to just touch on briefly the Complete Streets Safety Toolkit. And all these things have long names and jargon and you name it. And so what this really means is it's a separate piece from that Vision Zero action plan, but it's expanding the city's toolkit of traffic calming strategies and safety improvement strategies. It's looking across the country and seeing what are other communities doing. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. That's great for us. We can take something that they're doing well in Massachusetts and something that works in Minnesota and something that works in Wyoming. We have the luxury of taking those and evaluating them. Do they work here? Do they work in snow? Do they work in sleet and rain and all the fancy things we have? So we've done a deep dive here on these, and we have a number of interventions that we think will be new to the city of Syracuse, but not new overall. So there is a deep well of information on both how to construct these things, how they stand up over time, what is the public's reaction to them. But this should help the city tackle some of these issues of traffic calming. We're having speeding, we have unsafe conditions, even if it's outside the Vision Zero process, because the Vision Zero process highlights key corridors, key intersections, but that doesn't mean we're going to forget about the rest of the city either. So we want to make sure we have a playbook to call from that helps us address issues, no matter where we are or what we're doing. And part of that includes what we're already doing. So we are doing some things that are already essentially Vision Zero. We have an established speed hump program. We install speed humps in-house every construction season. We're gearing up for more this year, and we do a great job. The team here does of studying those locations, gathering data, pre and post installation data on speeds, because we want to know if we're making the investment, does this stuff work? So we do a lot of data collection. We do a lot of deep dives here. We have the municipal sidewalk program. It's about 5 years old now. We've done dozens and dozens of new miles of sidewalks, reconstructions, adding sidewalks where they weren't. That program deals with decades and decades of deferred investment, disinvestment in our pedestrian infrastructure. And so there's a ton of need everywhere. We wish we could get it all done this season. But we do have to prioritize those dollars. But again, a lot of those investments are in these areas that will be referenced in the Vision Zero action plan. And we also have school zone traffic enforcement. So we have automated enforcement technologies that are installed now and being installed over the summer. Those are 3 technologies. We started with the bus stop arm cameras. So there is a camera on every bus that serves the city of Syracuse school district. And what it does is it monitors and will send an automated ticket right to anyone who passes a stop school bus with the stop sign out and the lights flashing. It's a great technology. It's a great deterrent. Recidivism is pretty low in the other communities we've looked at, where you get 1 or 2 and then you don't get any more. It takes acts of state legislature to allow these technologies to happen. New York's got to really clamp down tight, but we have pleaded with our state reps for years and they obliged us finally. So we started with bus stop arm cameras on around 200 school buses, on every school bus. And next up will be red light cameras in close proximity to posted school zones. We try to get one close to every school. Not every school has a traffic signal near it, but we're trying to get close to them. Those will go on later this summer. And then the third is school zone speed enforcement. So those posted school zones that say 20 miles an hour, we want you to be doing 20 now, but I think folks will learn quickly if violations start showing up that the 20 miles an hour, we do mean business. And all of these automated enforcement technologies, they're all focused in and around schools. They're focused on school buses and the school campuses. And every school campus will have a school zone speed camera. So these aren't just randomly picked, plop down on a map. Schools don't move, folks know where they are. Yeah, so we're trying to build on some of these existing projects and programs that we have, and those will all be wrapped up under the umbrella of Vision Zero moving forward. And so the last slide, just, it's always good to have a nice picture. The Complete Streets Safety Toolkit, again, this is taking stuff that works elsewhere. These are established items, and we want to bring them here, determine where they're applicable, how we can use them, how we can fund them, how we can do them affordably. And that's where we are with our Vision Zero and Complete Streets Safety Toolkit project at the moment.
All right, thank you so much, Neil. I know we're going to have some questions about that probably, and I want to make sure we get to Paul here. So we're going to ask Paul to unmute. And Paul Calabufo is an operations manager with VIO, and he's going to share updates for the 2025 season, and we should have an opportunity to provide some feedback and whatever else Paul would like us to do. Go ahead,
Hi,
Paul.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Great. My screen is a little bit glitchy for some reason with this Zoom, but as long as you can hear me, I think we'll be okay. Yeah, let me just get into a quick brief overview of what VIO is and what we're trying to do here. We are a scooter rental company. We operate 1,000 scooters within the city, free floating. The idea is that, a large part of the population doesn't have cars. The buses are great, but they can't be everywhere all at once. So we're there to fill that gap. We're there to be all over the place. And that's the idea, point-to-point transportation. We're going into our 4th year. Every year, ridership has gone up significantly from the year before. Every year, complaints have gone down. Last year, our 1,000 scooters generated over 500,000 rides. So that's pretty exciting. The thing that made me most proud of anything is that according to VO, which surveys its ridership every year, Syracuse had the most people using VOs to commute to work of any city in the country, which I thought was pretty cool. Our average ride is under $4. So if you compare that with like an Uber, their average ride is up near 20. So it's a much cheaper way to get around. We have access membership. So if you're receiving any kind of aid from federal or state aid, then you get a discount on the on your ride, and then your average ride would go down to just over $1. And as Kevin mentioned earlier, we're working with the city to provide opportunity zones. So that way you don't have to, you don't have to fill out any form. You don't have to register with us. You just have to start or end your ride in a particular location. And if you do, you automatically get that very same discount. So yeah, we were looking at the far west side, the near west side, the Brighton area, Outer Comstock, Salt Springs, Eastwood, and North Side as those kind of opportunity zones kind of all across the city. I guess the final stages are being kind of worked out. But yeah, that's exciting. That'll just be those people, whoever it is, you start and ride there, you get the discount automatically. Usually try to keep these pretty short because usually people have questions and that can kind of guide where we go from there on. So I'll end it here and let anybody fire any questions they want at me.
All right. All right, great. Thanks, Paul. I know I'm sure there's going to be some folks with some VO questions. So I would like to actually get started into those first while we have our VO expert online with us. And you can either type into the chat your question, or you can raise your hand either physically like this, or you can down below there's a button for folks. You can raise your hand that way as well, and we can come around and unmute you if you have a question or a comment or want to ask anything at all about VO of Paul. Okay, oh, here we go. I'll ask Joe. Yeah, okay, Joe, I think you're unmuted. Joe Driscoll.
Hey guys, I just wanted to say, this has long been a thought. I think I've talked to you about this before, Paul, and I'm just really excited to see this. So not so much as a question as just a comment and an applause. I just think it's really great that you guys are doing this. And, I think, as a former counselor, when VO came to us and the data clearly indicated that these were being used as a transportation solution, I've long just thought we should be leaning into this. And really, like when VO came along, we didn't know how it was going to be utilized. There was a lot of, skepticism that it would only be used by the college students or whatever. And we've seen that's 100% not the case. And so I was always hoping, Paul, as we worked on the community change grant that something like this would come to fruition. I was just very sad that our counselors were actually giving VO a hard time because they're parked in the sidewalk, which is like part of the function of what they do. But anyway, I hope we can. I just want to applaud you guys for doing this, and I hope we can lean in more. And I think there should be, maybe in the off season rather than when coming before council in a kind of the state of emergency that we last dealt with them. I'd love to try to help facilitate more conversations where the city leans into that more. And so I don't know. I just think that this is like you know, it's a great transportation solution. If we want to be that kind of city that has multimodal activity, we really need to be supporting it as a city and you know, helping to subsidize that and make it more affordable and make sure VO's still making their money and doing what they do. So I think there's a lot of room for partnership there, and just applaud to DPW, Kevin and Paul and everyone who worked on that, because I just, you know, really want to say I think we should be working more on that to make it more deeply affordable on every level, and making sure that we're providing, you know, good affordable transportation solutions in a multimodal fashion where we're seeing the need, right? We're seeing the data showing us that we have the need and we have the desire and the use. So yeah, would just love to see that expanded, and you know, would love to assist in that any way further. So just thank you guys for all you've done, and round of applause.
Thanks, Joe. I wanted to say too, Paul, I live east, heading east on the thruway here, and I've been taking some different ways into work to be creative about some of the construction that's going on. Not complaining at all. And one of those, the last few days, I've noticed I've come in on Thompson Road from Carrier Circle heading into the city, and there's always a couple of VOs parked right at the well now on Thompson Road. So there are folks using absolutely using the scooters to get to places like that. And I don't know off the top of my head where the buffer ends over that way, if that's right where it ends, but it's all, regardless, folks are using it. So
Yeah, it ends pretty close to there. Actually,
Okay.
if you want some real kind of like insider information, we just created a
too.
new tool that I'm really like excited about. And what the tool measures are people who open the app looking for a scooter, presumably, but there isn't a scooter within 500 feet of them. And then it measures whether they end up walking to a scooter and renting it, which usually the case is no, or whether they don't. Pretty proud of the
Interesting.
fact that if you look within our riding zone, within our city, there's almost nobody opening the app and not finding a scooter. So, I mean, our idea is that we could be transportation for everyone. And within our riding zone, we're seeing that. But what I found really interesting are places that are outside of our riding zone where people are wanting our scooters and trying to get to. And one of the main ones was actually Carrier Circle.
Oh, yeah,
There's
I can see that.
something like 30 people a day are opening up the app looking for a scooter, and you know it's more than 500 feet away because it's not in our zone. There's a couple other places that I thought were really interesting, but that one especially interested me because I have a hunch that it's not people staying in the hotels that are coming in, it's the people that work there.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'll have to talk to Kevin and Neil, talk to Bren with Centro, and see if we can do some things to reach some of the areas that are, you know, really close to where our service ends, but that like there's clearly a desire, and for the first time I'm kind of able to see that. So it's exciting to me to just kind of see where the
Yeah.
need is, where people are opening up the app looking for rides and not able to find one.
Yeah, that's interesting. And it's nice that you have that feedback right away, that you can see what folks are wanting. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to read this comment that just came into the chat. Somebody wrote in, I'd love to see more VO outreach to our city's low income housing, even our senior buildings. 62 is pretty young. So just something to keep in mind. That would be another, another sort of place to potentially reach out to.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's great. I think the more outreach, the better. You know, we don't really have much planned in our budget to, you know, like for stuff like that. It's really just like get the job done, get the job done, get the job done. There's not a lot of outreach, not as much as I would like. But as we work with the city more, that was one of the things I've been, you know, Kevin will be able to tell you every time we have a meeting about those opportunity zones. I always say, you know, let's pair outreach with it. It's really important that people know this exists. Otherwise, it's kind of all for nothing if they don't know. So I
Right.
totally agree. That's an important aspect of it.
And then we've got a question here. Will there ever be infrastructure around helmets or a VO helmet program?
So we do give
Yeah.
out helmets every year. We
Oh,
just give them out
nice.
for free. So New York state laws, anybody over 14 does not have to wear a helmet. So we can't force people to wear helmets, but we encourage everybody to wear a helmet. Safety is good. Safety is where it's at. And on top of encouraging, we also give them away. So yeah, I'm always
Great.
looking
Okay.
for good places to go do a little giveaway. So if anybody has any thoughts or ideas of where I should try to pop up next and do a little giveaway, I'm all ears.
All right. Awesome. Let's see. I'm trying to see if Tom, let me know if you see any other hands raised or questions in the chat here for Paul specifically. I am not seeing anything for Paul specifically, but does anyone have any questions on anything that either the city shared or the health department, or Neil or Vision Zero or anything bike ped related that anybody wants to chat about? If you want to raise your hand or type it into the chat, we can certainly get to you. I did receive a couple of questions when people signed in to register for today. So I'm just going to share a couple of those. I think I gave a heads up to the city. Some of these are, there's a question that we're all kind of trying to deal with, but cars parked in bike lanes in the city, how can it be better enforced? I don't know if the city is getting a lot of complaints about that, but that's definitely something that would be a cause for concern. I don't know, Neil, if you or Kevin want to try to address that. Perhaps if you're on, I don't know.
Yeah, so a lot of this,
Oh, sorry, Kevin, I think I messed that up on you. If you can, sorry, there we go.
yeah,
My
so a lot of
apologies.
this is enforcement, unfortunately. We don't have the ability just yet to write tickets. But as we continue to move forward, that's something we're interested in working with SPD more and more. Obviously, it's a now growing concern. The more infrastructure that we put out there, the more that we're dealing with this. So it is obviously on our radar. It's something that is in the works, but we need to work with SPD pretty much to get enforcement for ticket writing.
Okay, thank you. And then while you're here, while you're on, another question that we had, and I think a lot of this has to do with how much space is available in city roadways, but any hope for dividers, like a vertical delineation between, or even horizontal delineation between bike lanes and vehicular lanes?
Yeah, so that's obviously something that we would rather have protected lanes. Obviously, we're working within the city's confines of the right of way. The good news is that when we have a lot of these state projects coming through, we're working with NISDA, we're working with Joe as the liaison to make these, bigger roadways protected. And then we're going to be working behind the scenes to connect our infrastructure to those bigger infrastructures as well, to really have a more, coherent system for biking. Yeah, because we all acknowledge that throwing sharrows on a roadway is not the full solution. With that, we need to figure out how to maintain these protected lanes as well, how to enforce some of these things. So there's a couple things that are more a systematic citywide approach that we're going to have to work through to kind of come up with, a 5-year plan to get these really so that they're at the point where they're not, we don't just put them in and then they become extremely dirty and aren't enforced and, become eyesores and safety concerns for people using them. So it's a bigger project, but again, we're working on that.
Great, thank you. And then we did have a question. I'm not sure who exactly to direct this to, but it'll be the city. So Kevin, either you or Neil.
Let's let Neil take one.
Okay, we're gonna let.
We'll let Neil take one.
I'm asking him to unmute. So here we go.
He's up.
Did it work? Oh, there we go. Okay, so the question for you, Neil, is can the city install a sidewalk on the south side of West Onondaga Street at the east side of Velasco Road from the corner to the bus stop? I know that's really specific, so you probably need to take a look at that. And I have to be honest, I haven't had a chance to actually take a look myself, but.
Yeah, it's an area we're looking at. I know the stretch. I can't commit us to saying we'll be there tomorrow and we're gonna.
Right, exactly.
The sidewalk planning process is a multi-year process. And again, I mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
Great question. We have needs spread across the city from decades of doing nothing. And so we're desperately trying to pick up the pieces and shine everything up and get everything compliant and safe. So that is an area we're looking at. We're actually looking at a project in combination with Onondaga County for Onondaga, that stretch of Onondaga, as well as through the Western Lights area and out further past the city line. So we're looking at multimodal facilities in that stretch, ped, bike, taking a look at the signals, making sure it's safe. So that's an area we've got our eyes on. I can't commit that we'll be out there tomorrow, but we hope to make that investment in the short term.
Yeah, and that stretch there, that was a piece that we looked at as part of the West Side Trail study. So if you look on the SMTC website, that particular sidewalk, I believe, or lack of sidewalk, is mentioned in that project as well. So it's definitely on the city's radar. So all right. I think that was what had come in via email and when folks were signing up. And then we did have another question from Karen come in online, and I think I can answer some of this, but when they're doing sidewalk plans, does the city focus around schools and housing center with lower car use / ownership? And there was the city SMTC actually had pulled together city worked with us to work on a prioritization type of list based on a lot of different factors that Neil and Kevin could probably speak to better than I could, as well as Andrew from our office. But the school is just one of many factors that play a role in that in sidewalk prioritization. So I don't know if you want to add to that, Neil.
Sure. In short, yes, but there's a number of pedestrian generators that we try to focus on, schools being a big one. Again, we're playing catch up, serious catch up. So we focus on schools, we focus on shopping areas, shopping centers, grocery stores, corner stores, community centers, senior centers, you name it. We also do have some overlays of low and no car ownership households, as well as age demographics, over 65, under 18. We look at it all. We really do. We try and take a holistic approach, because while the previous question was very pointed, what about my specific area right here? What we do now, as opposed to what we did in the past, which was, we did a house by house. Now we do multiple blocks by multiple blocks. We're looking at taking that 10,000 foot view of our transportation network. But it is a balance, and will take us time to get everywhere. But the good news is, once we get there and we bother everybody and we tear everything up, we won't have to come back for a really long time. We make sure we coordinate with the arborist, with the utility providers, water, sewer, grid, you name it, so that it's a good good product and one that lasts.
Thank you. Let's see, do we have any other questions from anyone about VO? Anything bike ped related for the city or Centro? Trying to think if there's anyone else I can put on the spot here. Have you gotten anything in? I don't see anything. I just don't want to cut people off or let's see here. I'm going to share my screen again. Goodness. Ooh, sorry about that. A little happy there. Oh yeah, I've got a reminder on the bottom of the screen to myself here, but please, if you've got any folks that would be interested in participating or have any interest in joining us at one of our Forum on Active Transportation meetings, if you could please just share our group with them, and let them know that we're here and we do this. We'd love to have some more people, some new people join us as part of join us and chat about bike ped stuff. And if you've got any ideas for any suggestions for topics, you can email us, you can check our website, you can always reach us that way. Again, in the meeting chat before we close here, we'd love to hear what folks want to talk about. So I didn't have anything else unless somebody from SMTC or the city or Paul, if anyone's got anything else, we can let folks go. And I'm not seeing anything. We finally have some nice weather, so I'm imagining that folks are outside enjoying that before the rain starts again soon. Very soon. And seeing none, I want to thank everyone for their time today and for your participation, and thanks to the city. Thank you to Neil and to Kevin, and thank you also to Bren. Thank you to Paul for being with us today, and Kara, and also Karen for letting me throw you in here on the spot. I appreciate it. And we hope to get into probably another, I'm looking at my calendar here, probably another 3 months from now, probably August, probably September timeframe, we'll hold another FOTE meeting. So if you've got any topic ideas in the meantime, just reach out to us at SMTC, and I hope everyone gets to get out and enjoy the great weather, and thanks for your time. We'll see you.
Thanks, Danielle. Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.